New York Congressman Peter King is the ranking Republican on the Homeland Security Committee and serves on the Intelligence Committee as well. Congressman King, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Matt.
You were critical of the president for not speaking out on this incident for some 72 hours. He did speak about it yesterday. Did you like what you hear? Did he say the right things?
Basically, he did. He was the commander-in-chief. I give him credit for that. I certainly support what he said about being aggressive about going after international terrorism overseas, whether it's Afghanistan or Yemen, Somalia, Pakistan. I fully agree with that. I do have concerns, though, that, for instance, he spoke about this being an isolated extremist, but it's not. He's an Islamic terrorist who's part of an international movement. Whether or not he's an actual member of al-Qaeda, I don't think it's accurate to say he's an isolated extremist. Also, I think that the administration has made a mistake by treating this terrorist as a common criminal, by putting him into the criminal justice system. I wish they had put him into a military tribunal so we could get as much intelligence and information out of him as we could.
So are you worried that
there are any more attacks coming?
Are you worried that this is going to be a missed opportunity to gain that valuable information? For example, the names and locations of the al-Qaeda operatives who may have trained him in Yemen?
Yeah. My concern is that we did miss the opportunity because once we put him into the criminal justice system, he gets a lawyer and he gets Miranda rights. But, Matt, I want to make this clear. I support the president's goal about going against international terrorism. There's obvious differences we would have, but he's the president. He's the commander-in-chief. I wish he had come out sooner instead of putting out Janet Napolitano or Robert Gibbs the first few days.
Right.
But yesterday he was presidential. He was our leader, and I stand by him.
Let's go back to screening and security at airports. Millions of dollars being spent, but there are millions of travelers, and I guess the resources are limited. Are you concerned, Congressman, that too much time and energy is being spent on screening people who, in all reality, pose absolutely no threat to others, that not enough time is being spent targeting the people who probably fit some kind of, and it's a charged word, but profile?
Yes, Matt, I am. And listen, terrorists can come everywhere. But the fact of the matter right now is that 100% of the Islamic terrorists who are coming against us are Muslims. And most of them are males from the Middle East. So we should be focusing more on that. Listen, if you're going after the mafia, you go into Italian communities. If you're going after the IRA, you go into the Irish community, the Irish bars. To me, it's not kidding anyone. We're just living in a politically correct world to say that we should be screening a Scandinavian grandmother the same as we do a Middle Eastern male. The reality is our enemy comes from Islamic terrorism, and we should be focused on them.
And we shouldn't be afraid to. We shouldn't be afraid to single out someone because of a last name that sounds like it could be a Muslim last name, or because of an ethnic background, or because of appearance.
I'm saying we should focus more on where we think the threat is coming from, and realizing that 99% of Muslims are innocent, God-fearing people, but realizing also that probably 100% of the threat is going to come from that community. So we have to, I think, focus more on that, but also realize that others can be recruited. We could have converts. We could have others from other parts of the world. But if we are going to focus, you focus primarily on where we think the threat is. This is what the Israelis do. The Israelis have done this, and they have not had an airline attack in 30 years.
We a little extra focus right now on the country of Yemen. The Pentagon spent $67 million helping the government there with their counterterrorism efforts in the last year or so. As someone who sits on the Homeland Security Committee, how much more money, how much more effort, how much more focus should we be paying to Yemen?
We should be doing all we can. I fully support what the president is doing. I mean, to say in a bipartisan note, I believe the president's actions in Yemen have been solid, they've been strong, and the president should realize that we have very strong support among Republicans for what he's doing. He's taking aggressive action, and it's very layered types of action, and the president's doing the right thing in Yemen. If he wants to do more, I would support him on that.
Congressman Peter King. Congressman, thanks for your time this morning.
Happy New Year, Matt.
And to you, thanks very much. It's 11.